Who's today?
Let's come to order. Today is August the 9th. We're at the Civic Center for the regular meeting of the Mexico Beach City Council. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, once again, we thank you for every blessing that you've given us. We thank you for safety. We thank you for prosperity. Lord, we pray that you would bless this group that's assembled this evening and keep us safe as we return to our homes. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Welly, please call the roll.
Miss Albrecht?
Here.
Mayor Bailey?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Putnell?
Here. This has been a very interesting month in Mexico Beach. We've had a record number of tourists. We've had a record economic impact on the city by all these folks that came and visited with us this summer. We also had the associated things that go with that, a record number of beach umbrellas and a record number of trash and all that kind of thing. But yet, again, praise our staff for the good job they've done this month, keeping everything neat and clean. They did an excellent job. I'd also like to commend the council on work they've done this month. What many of you did not see was that we met several times and we've already beat out the budget for this next coming year. That's an annual July event for us, and sometimes it stretches into August. But we've already kind of got to a bottom. It'll only require very, very minor adjustments. Our tax rates are remaining virtually the same, and our sanitation, water, sewer rates are going to be just about the same as they were last year. So there's no real significant impact to anybody in the city on anything that was changed. We've done a little bit of reorganization and things like that in the budget, which it'll all work out just fine with improvement in services in several areas. Many of you don't know that we lost our council member, Mary Blackburn, last Wednesday night. She decided to resign from the council. Don't get the wrong impression. She just had other priorities she needed to pursue, and we're going to start the process of looking at a replacement for her tonight. The council must, by a vote of at least three members on the council, appoint a replacement for her to serve the remaining term, which will run until May 31st. Mary was up for re-election at that time anyway. So we'll take care of all those things tonight. But again, appreciate you being here on this wet evening. Council comments, please. No. Citizen comments. If you have a comment, please come up to the podium and tell us who you are and where you live. Great group. I love it. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, which consists of our minutes for the three meetings we had in July. Are there any corrections or amendments?
I have one thing. The original agenda that went out had a lot more minutes on it. I pulled them all because I didn't have them done yet from the budget meetings and the town hall. So they'll be coming in the next regular meeting.
Okay, so we're only voting on these minutes.
These three. Yep.
Hearing none, motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Miss Albrecht?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Putnell?
Yeah.
The next item on the agenda is an item of great pleasure to me. The Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program has helped the city of Mexico Beach tremendously over the last couple of years. We just could not have done nearly what we've done as far as our recreation parks as we have without these guys' help. This is the third time that we're being presented a $50,000 check for park improvements, and at this time I'd like to recognize our presenter.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Mayor, Council. My name is Mark Nefke. I'm the park manager out at St. Joseph Peninsula State Park. Also manage the Constitution Convention Museum, and I'm here tonight to award the city another $50,000 from the FERDAP, Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program. It's a a grant program, competitive grant program that awards checks like this to cities and municipalities to improve recreation and outdoor things for the public. And I'm here proud to give you the check for $50,000 and hope we can come back again.
Yeah.
This check is going for the park department. Thank you very much.
We do appreciate it now.
I had nothing to do with it.
So you're just a messenger?
That's correct.
He can certainly come back anytime he wants to.
That's right.
We'll be dedicating the park probably in January. We'd love to have you come back then and share with us on completion of phase 1.
Appreciate it.
Preble Rich Dewberry.
Good evening. Not a whole lot to talk about tonight. There was 3 projects that are ongoing, that are on the list here that I wanted to touch on. Canal's been ongoing for a while. The contractor's on schedule to make the turn in September. He's right now working on the north-south run. He's making the turn, refers to getting him over to the east-west run closer to 98. Some of the items that are being worked on include actually the concrete cap on the seawall is in place. They're now forming the retaining wall that's going to back the sidewalk that goes in between the sheet pile wall and the retaining wall down by the docks. Things are going well down there. They've been slowed up a little bit this week due to the weather. They do have a different wall design that they presented to us that they think will be easier for them to construct. It'll provide the same performance. We're evaluating that to see if that's something that they can utilize to move quicker. Next project, City Hall. We met with the builders on site a couple weeks ago to review how exactly City Hall is going to fit on Municipal Park, kind of lay eyes on anything that might be in the way. That meeting went well. The builder is working on plans for the building itself, how the interior is going to be laid out. We're finalizing the site work plans that go hand in hand with that. So that one's moving right along. Parker Park, there's a couple photos down here showing progress. The sidewalks are in. The stormwater pond is mostly graded out. I met with BCL today. They brought by their bathroom design for the first glance, and we forwarded that on to staff to take a look at. They said they're going to start sodding down by closer to the moat area probably in the next couple weeks. So I guess one other project to touch on is the alternate water source project. We're going to have a site plan over to the company's rep this week, so we can take that back to the owner so they can have a better idea of what exactly it is we're going to need and to continue those discussions with the owners. Next step after that would be getting water quality tested.
One comment. When you talk to Harders, tell them make that turn after Labor Day.
Not September 1st?
No.
No, it'll be towards the end of September.
We don't want to move boats Labor Day weekend, trust me.
Right, right, understood.
Right after that. Sure. Okay.
Any other questions?
So we have to have a place for the water to run on the property. We can't run it in the moat.
Yeah, we have to treat it before we discharge it to the moat.
Oh,
I asked the
that's
same,
just wonderful.
Yes.
I asked the same thing today.
All right, thanks.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance 643. 643 is a hybrid version of the sanitation ordinance. This is not a final vote on this, but this is a first reading. The principal changes to the sanitation ordinance, so no one is confused. Where we were prior to the end of May was backdoor service. We changed with another ordinance to make it curbside. Then we enacted an emergency ordinance to put it back to backdoor, and we're still under the emergency ordinance. The way this is written, there will be a little bit more discussion down the way, but the way this is written, it's going to leave it just like it is right now. And that's what will be voted on. It is a backdoor service, but it has a little bit of hybrid in it. The regulation that we worked on to improve the sanitation ordinance to start with had some bad commercial rates that we changed. We also are going to try one-time pickup in the winter when virtually nobody's here. And we will adapt to any changes we need to make at that time. But that's what this says, and that's what the first reading is about. Motion to read by title only.
So moved.
There's a second. Please read by title only.
Ordinance number 643, an ordinance reestablishing a sanitation service in the city of Mexico Beach, prescribing certain user fee charges imposed for the purpose of funding said service, providing collection practices, amending and replacing ordinance number 633, and repealing any parts of ordinances in conflict therewith, providing penalties for violations thereof, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Are there any questions from the floor before we proceed? Yes, sir.
Is this the ordinance that you, the last workshop that was on the board,
No, sir.
where you're gonna charge?
No, sir. This is exactly the same trash pickup rate as we paid this year. It's backdoor service. It's not the proposal that you saw last time. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 641. Motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Please read by title only.
Ordinance 641, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, repealing ordinance number 617 and providing an effective date. This is the meeting agenda ordinance.
Yeah, we simply changed our meeting agenda ordinance to a meeting resolution, and there's no changes in the way that we do that. Motion to adopt ordinance 641.
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Putnam?
Yes. Okay, the next item is 642. This has to do with trailer parking. There's one line in this ordinance that I want to discuss before there's a motion on this ordinance. This is a section added, and it's the last item. Whoever's running the screen up there, it's the last item in this ordinance. Item E. Any vehicle or trailers parked outside the designated area overnight will be subject to fine or tow at owner's expense. We're talking about trailer parking. Vehicles aren't allowed in the trailer area. So what does that mean?
We're designating this area as boat trailers only, so we don't want, this wouldn't allow people to park their truck and their boat inside this area. This is strictly for trailers.
Okay, item C says vehicles will be prohibited. That's what you just said. But what does E mean? Is E needed?
Oh, that is the rest of the area that we originally designated as no overnight parking will continue to be no overnight parking.
So are we not parking by the road going in?
Right.
on either side of the road like they have a tendency to do.
Beginning of the year, when this whole discussion started, was all the trailers and stuff parked inside the area that people use on a day-to-day basis to put in at the boat ramp and pull out and park during the day while they're out fishing. This prohibits that. We gave them an area to park,
And that's where they're supposed to.
and that's where they're supposed to park. The open area, where the parking area is for the people who are using it as a day-to-day basis, is for that purpose only, not for parking your vehicles there for overnight or the week or what have you.
But inevitably, on special events, we're gonna have to have overflow up the street like they've been doing.
Okay?
Is that right there gonna confuse the police department? Okay, so what you're saying that means is if they're parked overnight in the area that's no overnight parking, they're subject to fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're not confused about that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Can residents park their trailer there overnight?
In the designated overnight parking area.
They can. So if we have, aren't we putting the designated overnight parking for visitors? And if the item that came up last meeting, if we say we can't park on an empty lot, then we're gonna have more residents parking on the designated overnight trailer parking area by their boat ramp, which will take up space for all the visitors, and isn't that the reason why we have it? Question.
I'm getting more confused. The more we talk, I get more confused.
I guess my question is, why have it for the residents? If we're supposed to, if we're trying to do it for the visitors and the tourists that come down for a week or two, why are we opening it up for long-term for the residents?
Well, we're not opening up for long-term. We designated that as no longer than 14 days.
And what's to prevent somebody to pick it up,
And move it.
put it in front of their house for one day and hope they don't get a ticket and then bring it back?
We did discuss all that.
Somebody's gonna do
And
it.
it was, we wanted to go with the honor system, let it police itself for a while, see if it works.
That's correct. We did
Okay.
discuss that. Yeah, it could be
It could
abused,
become hornet's nest.
but I'm hoping that it will self-police and it will be fine. Do y'all know what we're talking about? Some of you are looking very puzzled. We have a boat ramp area, and we have now got funding, and the material is here or on the way here.
Most of it's here already, yes, sir.
Already here, to extend the boat ramp parking area. St. Joe's allowed us to extend the boat ramp parking area, so we're extending it only for people who disconnect trailers, whether they be residents or guests or whatever, but no longer than 14 days on an honor system at no cost. At no cost. We feel like that's a very good compromise, and the CDC, they get a pat on the back for helping us out with this money to put this crush and run over there, and the city employees for actually doing the work. So I think this is a good, happy spot we're in right here, and let's see if it works. If it doesn't, we can always go back and do some enforcement, but I really think it's going to work. I think it'll work. Any other questions? Okay, motion to adopt.
So moved.
We haven't read the title yet, have we?
No.
No, we didn't. Motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Third. Read by title only, please.
Ordinance number 642, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending ordinance number 621, establishing long-term boat trailer parking at the boat ramp, repealing ordinances and/or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Putnam?
Yes.
Do we have our signs ordered already?
They're being made.
Chief, once the signs go up and that lot is announced, the bags are coming off of the overnight parking in the launch area,
Yes,
and it will be enforceable at that point.
sounds good, sir.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2016-04. This is the resolution to put back in place our meeting agendas. Motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Guys are too quick. Resolution 2016-04, a resolution relating to the procedure, agendas, agenda deadlines, order of business, authority to place items on agenda, conduct of meetings, minutes, and related matters pertaining to workshops, regular and special meetings of the City Council, providing for severability and reciting an effective date.
And notice that the changes that we talked about in the workshop were made. Are there any other questions? Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Putnam? Yes.
Next item on the agenda is to appoint Ms. Albrecht Mayor Pro Tem. To select a Mayor Pro Tem. Mary Blackburn was our Mayor Pro Tem, and by ordinance, by charter, we have to elect a new Mayor Pro Tem. Nomination for Mayor Pro Tem.
Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Albrecht for this.
Great choice.
I second that. Let's vote.
Please call the roll.
Start at the other end.
I will comment, historically, it's the council member with the most tenure that is selected Mayor Pro Tem, and Linda certainly qualifies to do a good job.
Mr. Putnam?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Albrecht?
Congratulations.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Don't you love it? The last item on our regular business is a process of filling the vacancy for Group 2. As I stated at the start of the meeting, that it's a very simple process. We have to have a three-person majority vote to select someone. We have 5 candidates who have put their name in the ring for this. Is there any 2 council members who do not want to proceed in appointing someone this evening? Hearing none, let's move forward to nominations and debate about who we're going to select.
How do you want to do this? You want us
This
to
happened a couple of
nominate?
years ago, and I think what they did to narrow down the field, they said, who's your number 1 pick?
Okay. Bill McLaughlin.
Bill McLaughlin.
That's my number 1 too.
Be fine with me.
We have 4 nominations for Bill McLaughlin. Would you like to call the roll?
I'll make a motion.
Make a,
Second it.
Ms. Albrecht made the motion, and Mr.
I'd say we had some good people involved.
Great candidates.
Bill has run for election once and has been very active in being at the meetings all the time, as a matter of fact.
And-
And that's one good reason, if nothing else, just to be to these meetings, that you don't have to come.
And without a purpose all the time. I mean, he's here because he's wanting to be here, not because he has an agenda.
Right.
I really thought until today, when we had 5, I really thought that we should publicize it, because I knew we had 2. We should publicize it for a week and then get back. But since we had 5, I think that's a nice choice.
Ready for a roll?
Please call the roll.
Ms. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Putnell.
Yes.
I will swear in tomorrow.
Mr. McLaughlin, will you please stand so the people can see who you are? He's been sitting on the back row. He's going to find the front row different. Department reports, Chief Norris.
Mayor, council, not in your packet. It was sent after the time limit, so it's on the screen for anyone to look at. Our 4th of July was the busiest that we've seen since I've been here. And the record number of visitors, and we had some increased calls for fights and other things, and happy to say that most all of them ended up with an arrest within just a few minutes. The final purge of the evidence room will be done hopefully this week, if my children will allow me to, and I'll be on military orders starting Saturday through the 27th for 2 weeks up in Wisconsin. For officer training, everyone was recertified in the tasers. They continue doing their work on online courses. Where's the next one?
Go back. Go up to there. Got it.
This is code enforcement. Staying very busy. And saying that 8th Street has been brought up to code standards for the city of Mexico Beach. It was enforced and acted upon by the city, Public Works Department, and code enforcement, as well as the police, and everything else that's there is within code. So we'll still monitor that situation and continue on. Is that it, Adrian?
Hit that one. Oop,
Come on.
that's the one. It's that.
Okay. Our summary for 2016 compared to 2015 is there for anyone to look at. Like I said before, watch your Yeti coolers that you'll see listed there. They grow legs and leave very fast. And that concludes my report. Pending any questions?
Questions? Thank you, Chief. Mark is not here.
He's on a call.
Okay. Public Works, Mr. Hall.
My report's very vague. I barely got it in time. But if I can find it, it's in here somewhere. But if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
There's nothing outstanding on it, was it?
No, sir.
Not really. Next questions? Okay, Mel? I'm sorry.
Do you still have sandbags available?
I was gonna say that in the announcement part.
Oh,
But yes,
okay.
ma'am.
For those who are listening, we didn't have any particular reason to get sandbags other than just a little prevention, a whole lot better than a lot of fixing. We did not suspect a hurricane or anything like that. I got several calls, actually. No, we don't know about a hurricane that you don't know about. Everything's cool. Mr. Weather.
Finance report for the month ended June 30th. Our total revenues for the year are $2,715,995.91. Total expenditures, $3,070,598.18. Puts us in the red 354. Of course, that's the canal project. The reimbursement's been submitted. Should be coming back any day. It'll bring it back positive. We'll go negative. We knew this was coming, so nothing alarming.
Questions? Okay, Mel?
If you look at the building permit section, you'll notice that in June and July, we had no new permits for homes. So we were doing so well the first few months of the year, and then all of a sudden we've hit a wall. However, in August, so far, we've had 2 that we signed off on just on Friday. So we're picking back up here, so that's good news for the economy here. Also, the staff had been working on an employee appreciation plan. We will be having once a quarter a luncheon on a particular Wednesday, and I do have a calendar of that already. In anticipation of the meeting in a couple of weeks, I'll go ahead and send it out to the council so you have a chance to look at it before the meeting. We will also announce the tenure of employees at the city council meeting so that the public can know what kind of tenured employees we've got. We've got some who's been here over 30 years, quite a few in the 20-year range, and then of course we have just a few new kids walking around. So I think it's always a good thing for people to know how long people have worked here, so you'll be hearing that in city council meetings. We plan on giving, on once a quarter, $100 to the lucky employee who is designated as the employee of the quarter. We will also give them an additional day off to enjoy their time with their family or gallivanting around, whatever they wish to do with that. So like we said, we'll talk more in detail about this at the workshop in a couple of weeks, but we'll get this out to you in the meantime. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Yeah. Announcements, please.
I have nothing.
Motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
He's got some.
me real quick, please. The announcements.
Sorry, let's see.
With the weather over the last day and what's supposed to come tomorrow, I just want to take the time, tell everybody to be careful out there. The city does have sandbags if anybody needs some. We do have a trailer full of sandbags that are already filled. We have used those at elderly residents. We're saving those for people who can't go out and fill their own sandbags, but if you guys need any sandbags, we have several thousand, so please come by. We have a nice place down here at the canal bathrooms, big pile of dirt. We can fill, or you can fill them at. So if you need anything, you need sandbags. If the bottom does fall out tomorrow, I'm hoping it's not as bad tomorrow, kind of like it was today. But if you need us, give us a holler. We'll come over here and see what we can do. We've been working on drainage all day today, so just everybody cross your fingers that it ain't as bad as they say it's going to be.
And by all means, if you would, not just Philip, but the whole city crew has spent most of the day out observing stormwater, helping people with their issues, sandbags. Even Adrian changed his clothes today and went out there and put his boots on. Looked like a regular guy, actually. You can't see Philip from his chest down, but by all means, pat him on the back tonight because he's got mud up to his knees. He's been out there in it. And so I'm not going to say anything about the condition of the office, but nonetheless, he worked hard today.
Very good. And we appreciate it. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.